Hey everyone, it's Kathy Boudreau, Director of Marketing here at ResultsIQ, and today I'm going to talk about the new lead scoring app in HubSpot. So as you know, in the past, HubSpot handled the lead scoring via properties. So you had positive and negative attributes, and you were kind of limited to a certain amount of things you could score, 100 steps or whatnot that you could do. So it could be limiting as you start to grow with, if you're scoring forms differently and all that good stuff. So they've created this new lead scoring app, which has a lot of nice new features. One thing that they do is they split up the fit and the engagement score. So they determine fit by, demographics or firmographics. So like say industry or contact title, revenue, employees, that type of stuff. And then engagement, of course, is anything having to do with how they've engaged with you. So forms, website visits, email, I believe even sales sequences are in there, CTAs, that type of stuff. So, and then you can do also, you can score both on the company level and on the contact level, which is nice. And you can do a combined score. So here's how I got started. So first I create this handy little spreadsheet here, a little worksheet of what I want to score. And I split it by fit and engagement. And I put in some scores that I think might be good. So don't worry about getting this perfect the first time. It's not going to be perfect the first time. The whole point of getting at least a baseline in is to see how stuff is getting scored, and then having sales start to call on these MQLs based off of a score and tell you these stink, these don't, and give you reasons why. And then you can adjust the scores. Maybe you make them higher, give them more points or less points. Maybe you especially if they say we're not getting enough MQLs from this, maybe you make it easier, to reach that MQL threshold so that they are. You need to determine what properties you want to score on, all that good stuff. So don't worry about getting this perfect the first time. It's not going to be. Okay, once you have your worksheet in place, and you don't have to do this, I just like to kind of see it all here in one place. You go over to the lead scoring app and you create a new score, and it will ask you, contacts or companies and all that good stuff. So I'm going to show you a couple of scores that I have in place. So this here is my contact fit score, and you can set a score limit. So the fit score can only ever go up to 100 points. Once it hits 100, it stops scoring. You can change this up to 500. So for fit, I've just kept it at the minimum of 100 because fit usually doesn't change all that much. I mean, once somebody is in there as a persona, they're not changing all that often, or the revenue or the number of employees in the company, that type of stuff is not changing that fast and that quickly. So 100 was fine for me. By comparison, if you did engagement, you might want to change that score limit to something higher, because people, should be coming back to your website and visiting additional pages, downloading more forms, and all that should be adding up to stuff. So I've increased that limit over on the engagement side to 200. In addition to the score limit, you can create these different groups. So you have a contact, in this case, I have my contact fit group and then the company fit. So this company fit is looking already at the score I've already created for the companies, which is based off of employees, revenue, and industry. And if that score is a 30 or more, we're giving 25 points to this score. So, and then I can kind of weight, if you will, how many points I want to give to the contact fit and how many to the company fit. So I only want this section of company to have a maximum of 25, and I only want this contact fit to have a maximum of 75. So these two have to add up to this. Okay, moving on, once you have all your properties in place here, you can go over to contacts and you can say, okay, score everything or score everybody except these folks. And so I've excluded our competitors and our own employees. You could also exclude partners if they're in your database, or anyone that you just don't want to get a score for whatever reason. And then over in settings, you've got a couple of, these are the properties that HubSpot creates for you when you save this score and go. So you can see here, you can change the label name if you want, and then you can set the threshold. So you're determining what's low, medium, and high. So this took a little bit of tinkering around for me. And so I would have HubSpot score the property and then look to see how many highs, mediums, and lows I got. And then I'd be like, that's not enough. So let me change the scoring. This here, I imagine, is probably going to change quite a bit as sales starts calling into the leads and saying that they're good or not good. So I'll either make it harder or easier for it to MQL this way. Okay, so once I have that, let's see. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I'll mention it over here. So my engagement score looks exactly the same, except I've got website, forms, and email. I could split these into different groups if I wanted. So just my forms in one group, website, and then I could change the score limit if I wanted to weight stuff differently. So if forms are more important than website and email, I'm going to give them a higher score limit than I would. You can also decay stuff. So that means that you can say, you're going to decay the scores, you're going to reduce them by half every 6 months. So somebody who filled out a form 6 months ago are going to have less points because they haven't come back and done anything. So therefore, obviously they should be decaying. So the benefit of splitting them into groups would be you could decay by each section. I'm keeping it simple to start with because I didn't want to worry about like the limits and the thresholds and all that good stuff. So this is what I ended up doing here. And you can also score either together. So any form submission, you could just score together and give it a point, or you could tell it different points. So based off of the importance of it. So maybe something like a calculator might get more points, but an ebook would have lesser points because they're not as far down the funnel, if you will. Again, you can select contacts that you want to exclude and set your thresholds here, and away you go. So once you review and save and turn on, it'll take about 30 minutes to calculate. HubSpot gives you a little green bar letting you know, and then you are on your way. So once you do that, and every time you touch the score and make changes, it will take another 30 minutes. So kind of keep that in mind when you're trying to work with stuff and figure out how you want to score. So after that, after it's in there, you can see what the score distribution is. So obviously 3,000 contacts is a lot to all of a sudden MQL and send over to sales. So what I did was then I went into my contact list and I started looking at the scores and started playing around. So my first iteration was just to create it as easy as possible. So where life cycle stage is either subscriber or lead. And then I just looked at what the fit score was and if it was known, and the engagement score, and put those values in here. So you can see stuff is getting scored, the threshold is being put in, and then I just started tinkering. Okay, show me the contacts that are high and medium in fit and high and medium in engagement, and show me how many that is. Or maybe I want really high engagement, but I don't necessarily care so much about the fit. I want to make sure that they're medium or high. So you can do all this. So I would play around with this and see what kind of makes sense for your data. Like, oh my gosh, is there really 1,000 people sitting here that should have been MQL'd all along? Does 50 make more sense? So you just kind of play with it from there. Once you have that all squared away and you've adjusted your threshold limits over on the lead scoring side and figured out here, then you can build a workflow, and it should be pretty straightforward after that. It's, using the criteria that you're using for this list. You update the lifecycle stage to MQL, you change the owner if necessary, and I notify the owner that they have a new MQL. So hopefully that gives you an understanding of the lead scoring app, how we've been using it, and just a word of the wise. You keep it simple at first, add more intricacies as you go and get some feedback. Don't try to do it all at once. And if you have any questions or need help getting any of this lead scoring stuff into place, please feel free to reach out. Thanks.